Welcome to Unit 3, ladies and gentlemen, on Expressions and Equations. We're going to begin tonight with Lesson 3.1, page 82 and 83. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have 3 videos tonight, so prepare yourselves for that. Don't worry, the second 2 are not as long as this first one. We are going to take expressions and equations, and tonight we're going to apply what we learned to simplify an algebraic expression by combining like terms. We're also going to eliminate parentheses to simplify, even though it doesn't say that on there. Our essential question: how can you simplify an algebraic expression? Now, ladies and gentlemen, you and I both know this book is inadequate. And as a result, I have a few more key terms that you need to know. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now is put down everything that you're going to use to write with, your pens, your markers, whatever, your crayons, whatever. Just listen as I give you all this information. And then when we finish these terms, pick them up, pause the video, pick up your pen, and write it all in. It's really going to be helpful if you follow what I'm saying instead of trying to frantically write down these terms and not listening and paying attention to what I'm doing. If you just flat out write notes, you're wasting your time. You're wasting time if all your goal is to copy down what I have on here so you can say you have it done. You won't learn anything from that. So let's get busy. Put down that pen. Here we go. The first thing we're going to talk about, algebraic expression. Algebraic expression is a combination of variables, numbers, and at least one operation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after we write all these down, after you pause it, when I'm done, and you pause it and write them all down, then we're going to go back and talk about them again using examples. So don't think we're not going to. Here we go with the next one. There are parts of an algebraic expression that you need to know. Those parts are separated by a plus sign. Yes, just a plus sign, although we're going to talk about the exception to that when we get to it. But these parts are called terms, okay? And some of these terms in the expression are the same. They're called like terms. These like terms are terms that have the same variable raised to the same exponent. Or they could be constants, and we'll talk about constants in just a second. Okay? There is a thing called numerical factors of a variable term, and they're called coefficients. And don't worry, we're going to talk about those, and you're going to really know what they are. But please know that every single variable term has a coefficient, even if you don't see it. There are some you don't see, but it's still there. Woo woo! Math is like woo woo! Crazy stuff. And the last one, before you pick up your pen and pause the video, is that constant, what we talked about in just a few moments ago. The constants are just numbers. They don't have any variable terms attached to them, but you need to know that constants are also like terms. Constants are like terms, even though they're not a variable raised to a power. So ladies and gentlemen, pause the video and write all those terms in there, and then start the video back up and put your pen down, because you're just going to listen again. Here we go. Alrighty, so make sure you have that pen down, and again, just watch and listen before you fill out the rest of your notes on this very part. It won't take very long at all. So let's talk about it. The first thing we have right here is we have this algebraic expression. That's exactly what it is. Negative 2x plus 16 minus x plus 3x squared minus 7. It's an algebraic expression, and it has terms. And you've got to remember, terms are everything that's separated by a plus sign. So here's where that exception comes in, okay? That exception comes in because, remember the rule for subtracting integers? We can rewrite this and we can say negative 2x plus 16 plus a negative x plus 3x squared plus a negative 7 if we follow the same change on those two. But we're not going to. So you're just going to know that if there is a subtraction sign in front of something, that that is the value of that term. It has a double meaning. It could be we're subtracting this x, or it could be that is a negative x. And that's what we're going to do when we're going to talk terms. So the terms, and I like to circle them. Everything that's separated by a plus or a minus sign is a term. And I like to circle them. All right? And when I circle them, I can then write them down. So my terms are negative 2x, 16, negative x, 3x squared, and negative 7. Those are the terms. Please put that pen down and just watch and listen. Now we have our like terms. And our like terms are the ones that have the same variables or are constants. The same variables raised to the same power. So I have this negative 2x, I have a negative x, and a 3x squared. Well, the only two that are the same are the negative 2x and the negative x. That negative 3x squared has a different power. And then we have the two constants. We have 16 and we have negative 7. Those are the like terms. And then we have the coefficients. Remember, the coefficients are the numerical factors on the variables. And so we're going to look at this negative 2x, and the numerical factor on there is negative 2. Here we have a negative x. Now you don't see a number, and this is that time I was talking about, where you don't see a number, but it's really there. It's a 1. If you don't see 1, it's a 1. Get it? If you don't see it, it's a 1. All right. And then we have the 3x squared, and what's the numerical factor on that? That's right, 3. So those are our coefficients in this expression. And lastly, we're talking constants. And constants are the numbers with no variables on them. And those are 16 and negative 7. Ladies and gentlemen, pause the video, pick up your pen, and write all that in your notes. Alrighty, let's continue right on. We're going to practice it real quickly here, identifying terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants in these expressions. So our first expression, you already have it, 2x squared plus 5x minus 4x squared plus 3x plus 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off with the terms. And remember, I just like to go into mine and I like to circle them all. And I circle the operation that comes before it. I can rewrite this subtracting 4 as adding a negative 4, but I don't want to spend all that time. I know that's what I do, so I understand that that subtraction sign also means it's a negative 4. So now I can write down all my terms. 2x squared, and I separate them with a comma because I'm separating the terms. That's a positive 5x. I don't need to write the plus sign. This is a negative 4. This is a negative 4x squared. I have a 3x, and I have a 3. Those are my terms. And then I have like terms. Terms that have the same variable with the same exponent. So I have right here a 2x squared and a negative 4x squared. So I can go 2x squared and a negative 4x squared. Do I have any others? Well, absolutely. I have this 5x and I have this 3x. So I have 5x and I have 3x. Notice I'm separating these like terms with parentheses so that I don't think they're all the same. And lastly, I do have two constants. I have a negative 4 and a 3. Going to my coefficients, the numerical factors of a term. Here I have a 2x squared, so my first coefficient is a 2. I have a 5x, so I have a coefficient of 5. I have a negative 4x squared, so I have another coefficient of negative 4. And I have a 3x, so I have a coefficient of 3. And those are all 4 coefficients in this expression. And lastly, I have the constants, and those constants are negative 4 and 3. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, where we're going to identify all 4 of those using this expression. 2r squared plus 7r minus r squared minus 9. Starting off with the terms. I have a 2r squared, a 7r, a negative r squared, and a negative 9. So 2r squared, a 7r, a negative r squared, and a negative 9. My like terms, I have a 2r squared, a negative r squared, 2r squared, a negative r squared. Do I have any others? Nope, because this is an r, it doesn't match up, and I only have a constant of negative 9, so there's no like terms with that. Going to my coefficients. I have a 2r squared, so my first coefficient is 2. I have a 7r, so our next coefficient is 7. And I have a negative r squared. What's my coefficient there? You don't see 1, so what is it? That's right, it's negative 1. Always include that negative sign if it's a negative term. And lastly, our constants. I have 1, negative 9. Just 1 in this expression. That's the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. Your first quick right of the night is to identify the terms, the like terms, the coefficients, the constants in this expression. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, 3y minus 2 minus 4y plus 6. Go ahead and write that down. Then when you're finished, take a quick break, get a snack, come back and see us for video number 2.